Hello students, this is our discussion about a short story and it was by the Edgar Allan Poe and the title it was The Telltale Heart. It was published in 1843 and it was about the narrator whose name was not known, and the narrator tried to convince the readers of his sanity. So the Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe is about killing someone. It is a murderer, okay? And then the victim killed the old man, and the dead body was hid under the floorboards. Okay. What are the characters inside? There are three things that you need to know: that this is the dominant character, or it is a supporting, or it is just additional character. The first one is unnamed narrator. This is the person who told the story. And then the old man, the victim, the neighbor who called the three policemen about the case. So the setting, most of the setting was taken inside a house. And normally inside the house it is around the bedroom, and what's going on inside it is about activity of the men and things that they do just in 8 days before and after the killing time. The genre is the horror of gothic fiction. So why we say that it is just anxieties inside, and the story is about the most fun to explore. Basically, if you don't mind looking at the hard stuff, okay, the crypt-like spaces, actual crypts, death, and dismemberment. So there is a fear inside. Of course, there's also supernatural gothic. You need to read the short story so you understand it completely. What is the point of view? The point of view of the narrator is unreliable first-person narrators. This doesn't necessarily mean that they don't want to show up when they will say it, but rather they either can't or won't tell us what really happened. So that's the point of view. So the first person, just I, didn't want to show about that. In this case, the narrator is trying to prove his sanity. One bit of the proof he offers is his ability to exercise dissimulations. The meaning is to act, to speak one way, and to mask the true feelings of your intentions. So the narrator here also admits that due to his intensely powerful sense of hearing, he can hear all the things in the heaven, and also everything in the earth, and many things in the hell, of course. So he isn't gripping reality very tightly. So you need to read the text to understand what is the point of view of this short story. Okay, we start with the plot, okay, because it is basic understanding. When we know the plot and completely understand the story about the initial situations. So the narrator wants to show that he is not insane, he is not crazy, and there is a story as the proof in the beginning. In that story, the initial situation is the narrator's decision just to kill the old man, so that the man's eye will stop looking at the narrator. So only because of looking, okay, because of the looking, and that is the process of killing happened. So what is the conflict? The conflict here is the narrator goes to the old man's room every night for a week, just 1 week, okay, almost 8 days, right? So they're ready to do the dirty deed, but the sleeping man won't open his eyes. Since the eyes, because what? Because the eye is not the man eye, is the problem. The narrator can kill him if the offending eye isn't opened. So you can see that that's the conflict. What is the complication here? This isn't much of a complication basically, because the man has to wake up in order for the narrator to kill him, because the narrator only wants to kill the person when he opens the eyes. If the man still wouldn't wake up after months and months of the narrator trying to kill him, now that would be a conflict. So what is the climax? The climax here is the narrator kills the old man with his own bat and then cuts up the body and hides it under the bedroom floor. That is the suspense. The narrator is pretty calm and collected when the police first show up. He gives them the guide tour of the house and then invites them to hang out with him in the man's bedroom. But what the narrator starts to hear, a terrible noise which gets louder and louder, and that is the suspense. What about the denouement? Denouement here is where the noise gets even louder and keeps on getting louder until the narrator cannot take it anymore, thinking it might make the noise stop. So what the narrator tells the cops to look under the floorboards. So what is the conclusion now? Up to this moment, the narrator doesn't identify the sound. It's described first as a ringing and then as a low, a dull, quick sound, much sound as a watch makes when enveloped in cotton. Only in the very last line does the narrator conclude that the sound was the beating of the man's hideout heart, the beat of the heart of the dead body. That's the plot. Okay, we move to this the deep analysis of this short story. It is the Telltale Heart is a powerful psychological thriller that gives an account of murder from the perspective of its perpetrator. It is a deranged madman. Perpetrator is a madman. Who is that? It's the man, okay? Unknown. The name is not mentioned. The narrator plots to kill an old man to forever rid himself of his evil eye because of the eye. For 7 nights, the narrator stalks the old man, waiting to catch his enemy, the eye open. Just when the eye opened, the killing was done. When the time arrives on the 8th night, he meticulously carries out the heinous murder and disembodiment of his victim. So to put the dead body under the bed floor. The madman's victory is short-lived, however, as his paranoia couples with guilt. As his emotions intensify, so does his insanity. You need to read that. His insanity manifests itself as the sound of the heartbeat of the old man that becomes louder and louder. At that pinnacle of madness, the narrator can no longer endure his guilty conscience, and he confesses his crime, that he committed the crime. So we discuss about the devices inside. We start with the simile. The simile here is Poe uses this type of figurative language to compare two unlike things, typically marked by use of like or as, like a low, dull, quick sound such as watch, mixed when enveloped in cotton. So this is like a simile in the short story. Another one is the personification. Personification here is Poe also uses personifications to enhance his storytelling. Not all in vain, because Death, in approaching him, had stalked with his black shadow before him and enveloped the victim. So put the old man inside the envelope or wrapped under the floorboard. What is the alliteration? This Poe uses alliteration to establish mood, call attention to important words, and point out similarities and contrasts. Hideous heart, that is the example. The repetitions, Poe would often repeat words or certain phrases to achieve a stronger emphasis. What is that? Like louder and louder. So repeat the word this to make the stronger emphasis of the meaning of the word. What about the grim humor? Poe uses topics and events that are usually treated seriously, like death, mass, murder, sickness, madness, terror, drug abuse, war, and etc. So this is treated them in a humorous or satirical manner. Like, I was never kinder to the old man than during the whole week before I killed him. This is the humor. Kinder to the old man than during the whole week before I killed him. What about the horror and supernatural? Poe's writing intended to scare, unsettle, or horrify the audience. The cause of the horror experience had often been the intrusions of an evil, or occasionally misunderstood the supernatural element into everyday human experience, like death in approaching him had stalked